Hello my friends. My name is Bot Mathematician and this is Holomancer.
Also, Chief Investigative Reporter Dora joined us this evening.
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop. Wild is in a very dangerous position. The metagame has become very polarized. Competitive play consists mainly of combo decks and mega-aggressive strategies. Rogue is unbalanced and completely broke the format. It seems like the mini-set has made things worse. The concentration of miracle archetypes is off the charts. The Wild format initially had a higher level of power, but at the moment the power of synergies is approaching a critical point. We are gradually approaching the moment of the appearance of decks that will end a game on the first turn. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that the format can be saved. In this video, I want us to analyze what is happening in the very first format of the game and try to find an answer to the question, is the end coming?
The end is coming!
Dora, let's calm down a bit and try to understand the current situation in more detail. Our audience is mostly standard players. For this reason, we tried to make this video as clear and friendly as possible for any players. In my opinion, this video very well demonstrates what happens to the metagame when the overall power level of cards increases too much.
Let's first look at the most influential decks in Wild. The most effective but not so popular is Pirate Rogue. This is an evergreen archetype, but in this form it is more aggressive than ever before. The build's win rate is 68%. Unfortunately, due to the relatively small number of matches, this figure may not be very representative. The deck is an extremely budget option for the format. You only need 2 legendary and 2 epic cards. Based on the ratio between cost and effectiveness, the deck managed to break our efficiency factor algorithm. For the first time, we see results exceeding 100%. And this is despite the fact that when calculating we take into account the full cost of crafting the deck and not just the cost of high rarity cards. In other words, for the Wild format, we ignore duplicate protection. The cheaper the deck and the higher the win rate, the more efficiency points it will get. Such an impressive result means that this deck is too profitable for effectively climbing the ladder and at the same time with minimal investment of resources. Whizbang's Workshop added 3 new cards to the deck to make the strategy more aggressive. Toyboat allows you to draw a large number of cards throughout the turn, while Treasure Distributor distributes buffs and improves its stats. The tempo of the deck is just insane. Do you remember the times when Mr. Smite created problems for opponents? I hated this card, but now I really miss those times. Now the deck consists mainly of 1 mana and 2 mana cards and there is no place for such expensive tools.
In second place is another Rogue deck. The release of the Twisted Pack in a mini-set has made a big upgrade to the Miracle strategy. With this card, you can make Wild Paw Gnoll and Obsidian Shard free on turn 1. It's a huge tempo and almost always an auto-win combo. This is nonsense. Cards that reduce their cost inevitably lead to problems. But even if you fail to find a combination at the beginning of the match, you can win on the 5th or 6th turn with the help of a large number of synergies and tools that allow you to regularly draw cards from the deck. This build demonstrates impressive efficiency, but due to the increased cost, the efficiency factor is 62%, which is an extremely good result. This is basically a new version of the Miracle archetype. But the old version is still effective and very popular. If you thought that this was the end of super efficient Rogue decks, you are wrong. Garrote Rogue is back and more dangerous than ever. The deck is a variation of the Pirate strategy with a win condition in the form of the Garrote spell. The concept is simple. Pirate Synergy allows you to quickly reduce the number of cards in the deck and guarantees a huge tempo. Then you can use the Garrote spell to shuffle 3 copies of Bleed into your deck. Shadow of Demise allows you to use a second copy of Garrote. Then keep drawing cards. Street Trickster will double the damage of Bleed. But be careful, when using the Secret Passage spell, your bleeds do not trigger. The deck costs almost 10,000 dust, which is quite an expensive option for standard players. Pirate Synergy is so insane that it allows you to effectively implement this style of play.
But that's not all. Kingsbane Rogue returns to the metagame as an effective tool to fight against Quest Warlock. Despite the not so impressive win rate, the popularity of the deck has been growing over the past week. This archetype has not been going away for a very long time. The efficiency factor is only 20% since the win rate is not high and the cost of the deck is almost 10,000 dust, which is the conditional limit for rational advancement on the ladder.
Rogue is incredibly strong, stable, diverse and extremely popular. The overall popularity of the class is just under 30%. This is comparable to the sick popularity of Demon Hunter in the first week after release. For Standard, this is a signal for an immediate nerf. The main reason for such an anomaly of the class is Secret Passage. The spell is used in all archetypes and is the main card for the class. The effect works similar to the draw mechanic, which allows you to replace your hand with 4 other cards from your deck for only 1 mana. This is completely broken in conditions when your deck consists of very cheap cards. The more cards you can play, the more value you get during the turn. If you manage to use all 4 cards, it will be comparable to the classic Sprint spell for 7 mana. This is an insane amount of benefits.
But it's not just the rogue who's causing problems. Let's take a very brief look at a few more decks that are leaders in the metagame in terms of efficiency. Big Shaman is impossible to ignore. The archetype was quite popular and effective, but the new location Fairy Tale Forest has significantly increased the win rate of the strategy. The key card is Muckmorpher, which on the 4th or 5th turn can transform into one of 4 huge creatures. Each creature is an excellent counter to aggressive strategies. The new location will not only pull Muckmorpher out of the deck, but also reduce its cost to 4 mana crystals. In addition to this, the Auction House Gavel weapon also reduces the cost of the creature. This key combination allows you to cheat the mana curve and get a high-level creature in the early game, and in cases of luck and an additional use of the Reincarnate spell, you can get a huge board of creatures on the 4th turn, which will be an automatic win for you. The drawback of the deck is its direct dependence on the starting hand. If you're unlucky, your opponents will leave you no chance to win.
Shadow Priest continues to be relevant. Treasure Distributor is so good that it occupied a slot in this strategy even though the deck contains only a few pirates. In addition to paper, Craft Angel was also adapted into the archetype. There is nothing remarkable about the deck except the fact that it is a super aggressive build that can win on the 4th turn.
New Quest Warlock made a lot of noise. The new spell mass production brought back Dark Glare and breathed new life into the strategy. Despite numerous nerfs and changes in the quest conditions, players can complete it on the 4th turn, realizing a ton of resources. Of course, this result is not guaranteed and depends on luck. Dark Glare turns the deck into an analog of the Miracle archetype. After the release of the Min set, the deck filled the metagame and became a big problem, but gradually the opponents adapted and the deck was taken under control. This forced the strategy to evolve, and as a result we got an XL version with 40 cards and life points, which is even more stable. Like most broken strategies, Quest Warlock uses cards that become free to achieve victory. The efficiency factor is 44%. Overall, this is a good option for competitive play if you have enough resources.
The XL and Reno archetypes are the counter to all this madness at high ranks. Ping Mage, Highlander Priest, Highlander Shaman, Highlander Druid are control strategies adapted to combat aggro decks, but even they don't always succeed. Concentrating enough of these strategies has led to the emergence of a universal killer. Highlander Paladin leaves no chance for any control deck and punishes decks that are unable to win in the early game. In addition to the tools for combating aggro, the deck has a unique win condition from a combination of only 2 cards. Order in the Court plus Holy Wrath will draw Shirvala from the deck and deal 25 damage to the opponent's hero. In most scenarios, this is a winning combination. The deck is very interestingly composed. Holy Wrath is the only holy spell, which means Knight of Anointment and Hi-Ho Silverwing are guaranteed to draw it from the deck. In addition, ETC Band Manager will help you find both Order in the Court and Holy Wrath. So, despite the fact that the deck has 40 cards, finding a 2-card combination is a relatively simple task. While testing the deck, I was surprised at how often the combination can be used. The biggest drawback of the deck is the crazy cost. To get this build, you need to have 19 legendary cards in your collection. Only veterans of the game or very, very rich players can afford this build. Efficiency factor is -76 points. This means that crafting this deck at full cost is completely irrational for moving up the ladder, even despite the high win rate.
In just a few minutes, we managed to almost completely describe the situation and the format. Despite the fact that in Wild there are more than 5,000 cards available, the variety is lower than in Standard. Death Knight, Demon Hunter and Warrior are almost not represented. Hunter has several competitive strategies, but their popularity is extremely low. Thus, Despite the many possibilities, only Valeera has a large variability.
It is impossible to ignore the fact that the power level of strategies in Wild has reached a critical level. Most matches last up to the 5th turn. Often players have to give up after their opponent's first turn is too strong. The game pace is crazy. Wild has always had a higher power level. This is completely consistent with the ideology of the format, and it is normal for the power of decks to gradually increase. Moreover, Wild has been repeatedly paralyzed due to completely broken interactions. But this time the situation is more complicated and cannot be solved by a targeted nerf or ban of a specific card.
The overall power level of many strategies has become too strong, which has led to a reduction in variability and the formation of a monotonous metagame in which Rogue reigns alone. Balance is almost absent, the competitive component is destroyed. I do not believe that even a large-scale nerf can make things better.
I really love the Wild format and have spent as much time in it as in Standard since its inception. Over the past 6 months, I have started playing much less Wild, since the current state of affairs in Standard seems more interesting to me.
For us, Wild has always been a great alternative to Standard and a testing ground for crazy strategies. Let's be honest, in the current circumstances, experimentation is almost impossible. Even if you find a way to counter the insane early aggression in numerous rogue decks, you will be killed by the new quest Warlock or Highlander paladin. In our opinion, the format is at a very dangerous point and is overheated. If the trend of increasing card power continues, the format may explode. In other words, there is a possibility that it will become unplayable due to the dominance of a few strategies that will leave no room for hundreds of archetypes. The most interesting thing is that the ideology of the Wild implies an inevitable catastrophe sometime in the future, and it is impossible to prevent it by standard methods.
Last year, the Hearthstone team tried to fix the situation by releasing an exclusive set Caverns of Time. They took a lot of key cards from the past and made them stronger and also printed new ones. In my opinion, this made things even worse, since the buff didn't bring back old forgotten strategies and some of the new cards made already strong archetypes even stronger. I have no hope that Blizzard will figure out how to save the format.
But even in the current situation, there are some positives. Preparing this video and testing decks forced us to go back to Wild. I spent a few days there and almost got to Legend. I still really like that the format can offer a completely different experience. The gameplay is not like Standard and I really appreciate that.
I can't say we suffered while testing the decks. Personally, I enjoyed learning new interactions. The positive thing is that the new Hearthstone sets influence changes in the metagame. Most strategies feel updated. The win rate of decks in Wild is traditionally higher than in Standard, and reaching Legend rank is significantly easier. In terms of rational investment of resources, the format has some very profitable decks that will allow you to easily achieve more impressive results on the ladder. Besides that, if you like broken interactions and crazy synergies, the format will still be fun for you. Personally, I enjoyed returning to Wild, but unfortunately, towards the end of deck testing, I found that the monotonous metagame was starting to bore me. Maybe I'll play for a while longer, but I don't intend to play the format like before.
As for me, I can't give up the Wild format because it's too important to me. Guys, in the past have suggested introducing a flexible ban system into Standard for decks that have been the strongest for too long to increase diversity and the possibility of less effective strategies appearing in the game. In my opinion, this proposal is irrelevant for the current state of affairs in Standard. But what if the developers add this system to the Wild one day, when the situation becomes critical? The developers could cyclically ban key cards to weaken or completely drive out the meta leaders for a while and free up space for other strategies. Yes, this contradicts the original ideology of the format. Yes, many players will not like it, but in a critical situation, radical solutions will be needed, and this is potentially one of them.
We know that there are many Wild format players in our community. Dear viewers, share your thoughts with us in the comments.
Does Wild format need radical changes in case of a disaster? Do you think the current power level in Wild is at an all-time high?
Share your thoughts in the comments and join the polls in the community tab.
Traditionally, we want to express our boundless gratitude to our sponsors.
Dear friends, your help is invaluable. We will be grateful for any support.
Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for spending this time with us. We really hope that we will have the opportunity to get in touch in the next video.
Take care of yourself.
And never give up.
Job's done.